Alrighty, it's your host, Biggie Smoke, back here with Hyperdrive Racing League, and this time it's the actual race. The lobby bugged out because EA can't make a stable game to save their life. Doesn't matter because they're paid out by $55 million Saudi Arabian people, so great job, EA. Good way to sell out. Way to make your fans love you. But anyways, that's besides the point. We are back on with this F1 race, and hopefully we will have some good action on our way. We should, because if we don't, I might. Yeah. We will. We will. Anywho, all the drivers just waiting for them to load in, and we should be ready for this race. Finally. And we should have a fun one, too. So if everyone getting their tire strategy set up and now and ready for the race, grid set up again, and we have of course Michelle starting at the back, Peak Racing taking the pole in this one, so he's got himself set up good. Alfio Free Jones I think P2 in this grid. And the writing's on the wall here for a hopefully really good race. Very close lap times, and we know these drivers are competitive, so I hope everybody is ready for what should be quite the race. So, how's everyone doing? It's been interesting. Alright, never mind. 2 red light, 3 red light, 4 red light, 5 red light, and we are racing here in Austria right now. Peak Racing gonna try and hold off Alfio Free Jones, Sir Angel behind. We're gonna see we got side-by-side racing between the Audi and the Ferrari and the Mercedes. Oh my, Aston Martin. Wow. And we got a free wide of, I think, over here. Free abreast, in fact, it's going to be the Aston Martin. A little bit of lag there. Haas going to go off. Mercedes almost going off the track. We almost got 4 abreast here. A little bit of contact between the Mercedes and the Haas's. They're going at each other's throats right now. And the 2-bit going to get hit hard with that as he falls down the field. Caution out on the play. And we have another Haas falling down the field as well. And it's already starting with a VSC. And that is a sign of what to come in this race. Wow. Quite the chaotic start there. We saw a few 4 abreast there back there. We had a couple of a little bit of contact too, some hits, probably some damage too, maybe some debris on the track too, probably the reason for the VSC. And this race is already starting quite chaotically, as expected with 20 drivers. Fortunately for Peak Racing, this makes his job a little bit harder as he wanted to try and pull out of the DRS zone and has one less lap to do so. Some drivers flying into the pits now to go get that damage repaired. There was definitely some contact, some back and forth action, and a little bit of damage spread around the track with all that action. So if they got their cars repaired, they should be fine, but it's good. It's an interesting start nonetheless to this one. And there we go, VSC has ended. Peak Racing going to be given another chance to try and build up that gap. And there's also quite a bit of fighting going on just a little bit farther back in the field. As you're going to see, I think it's Alpine going side by side with a Williams there. And we also got a McLaren trying to pull out to the side. That's RRC. He looks down. Williams going to try and go down the inside. Alpine going to be just a bit faster though. And so the Alpine going to be able to maintain position just for now. Of course, that Williams though going to be looking for an opportunity to get around Tom. So that's Marino there. And the 9 right now behind Michello. Michello also trying to work his way up the field right now. He's up into P13, P12 right now, sorry. and he's going to be trying to get around some more drivers. He's definitely got pace, and MKKJR gets the fastest lap. Matucci, RC Michello now setting the fastest lap, 108.805 by Michello. So we're now going to go on board with Michello right now. He's going to be trying. This is going to get a good chance off the straight. Good exit. Gets DRS, passes the AlphaTauri of Plepa, and now going to try and set his sights onto the little field up front. You get a perfect view of the action going on up front from Michello's point of view. And now you're going to see two cars going side by side. Marino now going on for Tom. I think he might try it around the outside. Is Marino going to be able to hold it, though? He will be able to hold it. He's going to be able to maintain his speed and momentum through that corner. He's going to be able to keep ahead of Tom right now. And it's already looking like quite the race. And we also have Mirotachi on the back of RRC right now, looking for 9th place. We also can't ignore what's going on at the front right now for the top 4. And we also got the 2 Aston Martins closing in as well. It's both Alfa Romeos, both Ferraris, and both Aston Martins seem to be all threats for the lead here in this one. But Peak Racing trying everything he can to try and extend that gap and try and stop from getting attacked, as Alfio Free Jones is going to send one up the inside. Thinks better of it, but he might find himself sent up the inside by an Alfa Romeo. Wow, he does enough to keep away from that happening, but that was close. And that's the thing too, especially when you have so many cars nice and close together. If one tries the overtake and decides, I'm going to back out, the other one might say, I'm not backing out, and try and get a free position off of that. And it makes decision making very difficult as a driver behind, because you also have to watch for the car behind. If you're in the middle of that little field, you've got to make a decision. If I decide to commit to this, I have to commit to it, because if I don't, there's a chance he's going to try and do the same thing to me. So you have to be willing to commit to that. But of course, you have to also be willing to take a risk too, because if you don't commit at all and decide, I'm going to wait till I can perfectly commit, you may never get that opportunity. So you have to make at least a decision to try and fake a commit, so that you can get someone to move, so you can make your way through, because sometimes they won't fall for that, or they won't give you that opportunity, especially if they're driving perfectly. And so Peak Racing really just trying whatever he can. He's got Alfio Free Jones though, and he's very close, and he's got DRS again. Peak Racing though, I think running some pretty low wings to try and oh, down the inside, Alfio Free Jones gonna steal the position away now. And now Peak Racing might try and go side by side with him. He might, he will. Is he gonna be able to close? No, he's not. He's gonna have to back right into second place right now. He's gonna have to try again. And it's already becoming one hell of a race right now. And this race for first, I feel, is going to be one of those underlying races throughout basically the whole 36 laps. And it's really just going to be a race based on who's going to make that big mistake that's really going to turn the tide here in this one. So now Peak Racing got DRS, going to be looking for that position back now. He's going to fold back in behind, doesn't want to do something too aggressive here. Again, it's only lap 6. There's quite a lot of laps to go. And albeit, despite this track being very, very short and laps being under 70 seconds on average, around 70, I would say 78-ish seconds on average, especially when the cars are this close and trying to fight. Peak Racing gets ahead, by the way. Forgot to mention that. Down the DRS straight, Peak Racing ahead and back into first place. Alfio Free Jones going to have DRS to try and clap back, but it's not going to be enough. He's too far behind. As part of the difficulty, despite getting that DRS to try and get the driver back right away, it's usually not enough, because if you're pushed wide there, which you will be when you get overtaken, you're going to lose a decent bit of time, because you're going to have to back off unless you want to go into the gravel. So it's one of those things where you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. So you kind of just have to be willing to take it and accept it, and then try and get back for that first place on next lap. We're going to go on board with Alfio Free Jones right now. It's going to go around, DRS open, 308, 309. And he gets through nice and easily there, up into P1. But now he's got to watch out for the fret. because Peak Racing might try from behind as he's going to pull side by side. Peak Racing going to have a lot of pull there, and Peak Racing gets through. And Peak Racing back up into the lead. He's definitely got lower wings, and I definitely think that's giving him one big advantage through this Grand Prix right now, because he doesn't need as much DRS as some of the other drivers do to try and get ahead. But of course, he also has to consider that, because they might start to catch on to that and try and play a little game with him so they can try and get the DRS when they need it to make the overtake, so that he can't make the overtake come the finish line. And that's ultimately what's really going to matter, is where the positions are and where you are at that finish line on that final lap. That's really the decision that's going to matter. Everything that happens here is just pokes and stabs trying to tire each other out. It's what happens when we get to those final 6 laps. That's where it gets difficult. That's where strategy on when you make that overtake is going to start to play a big effect. And another thing to consider too is tires. Some drivers are starting on the hards, trying to go on a longer stint, and possibly are going to try to outrun the medium tire starters at the end by going on the mediums at the end and having a little more pace than those hard tires will at the end. But then again, those hard tires are also going to last just as long, so they might have that, but they definitely probably won't have that few temps advantage. So that's the thing you have to consider. Can the medium tire runners get enough to really try and pull on to that lead there and try and stop the medium tire runners from really making that will the medium tire starters get a chance to outrun those hard tire starters enough so that when they turn onto the mediums, they won't have too much of a pace advantage, or that pace advantage will be almost negligible. And now it's going to go side by side though. Alfie Free Jones going to take the position away from Peak Racing there, and now it's back. These two going back and forth basically. Sir Angel and Tio, unfortunately, because they're behind this battle, really can't do much to either trade position, so it's basically Tio. But now here comes Peak Racing down the inside again. Side by side, Peak Racing going to try and hold the inside. There you go, he's got it. The Ferrari, though, going to have a slightly better exit, but Peak Racing going to rocket past with that lower downforce setup. And it's definitely playing a massive advantage to his race right now. And on top of that, Michello already worked his way up from 20th, now up into 8th, so he's already trying to fight for that lead. Now he's also got to be careful because he's on hard tires too, so obviously the plan still for Michello is to try and bring these tires as many laps as possible so that when he goes into the pits, he doesn't have to worry too hard about whether or not he'll be able to make it. So ultimately, that's going to be his goal as a driver right now. He needs to obviously make up those positions, but he also knows he shouldn't push recklessly and try and make those tires last. So that when he does go onto the mediums, he's going to be able to go on them fairly late, and so when the hard tires are already starting to wear, those mediums still have a chance that they'll have some pace left in them. And of course, the hard tire runners, they're going to be trying to just hold on as much as they can too, so that those hard tires are as fresh as possible, because the pace differential from worn hards to mediums will be brutal in this race. But now here goes the Aston Martin side by side. Vickwick gonna go down the inside on his teammate. Vickwick needs this too, because Vickwick's trying to maintain his points lead on Michello right now. So Vickwick up into P5, gets a good overtake on his teammate there. Now his teammate's gonna want to come back on him and try and bring that back. So his teammate looking to reel him in there. And a little bit of Aston Martin fighting. Will that become an issue in this race? Because they could trip each other up too. And that might be the last thing Aston Martin really wants to do here in this one. So it's Vickwick right now doing his job, trying to maintain his position as much as he can. Ooh, Tio looking a little off the line there. And that might work into Vickwick's hands a little bit as he closes up the gap to him. And now could possibly be looking for that move into P4. And he now knows the direness of the situation because he can see Michello definitely in the rearview mirror. It's not far behind now. And Alfie Ofri Jones, Peak Racing doing a good enough job to keep him far enough behind. Alfie though might try it here now. Down the inside goes Alfie. Peak Racing trying to hold it around the outside. He's not going to be able to. Peak Racing, I think, might get the DRS in this one, though. Yes, he will. So Peak Racing going to be able to get his position back. And even more importantly, Sir Angel might be looking to pass Alfie now. Are we going for an Alfa Romeo 1-2? Almost there. And that was a close call for Alfie Ofri Jones. But it might still be because it's side by side still. Alfie holding the position, though. And Sir Angel now trying to get a move on because he wants to get at that Alfa Romeo 1-2. He wants those points as well, just as much as any other driver, but he's really looking for it. And he took a couple side-by-side hits at Alfie Ofri Jones, just trying to see how the driver's going to react and how he's going to move and how he's going to work under pressure. So Alfie Ofri Jones, if he wasn't aware of the threat behind him now, he definitely is now. Now here comes Michello now, side by side, bit of contact with the Aston Martin there. He actually went for a 2-for-1 deal there. Gets 2 overtakes. Spifa's going to be given a 3-second time penalty, but MKKJR going to have the DRS to pass Michello still and maintain his lead right now over Michello in P6. But Michello now P7, and he'll be fighting for P6 real soon. But he's got to watch out because Marino still right behind him looking for an overtake. But now here comes Michello into this fight now. Vickwick has to get a move on now if he wants to maintain that points lead. And Peak Racing looking very good here. He's definitely got some good pace, and he's looking on point for a 25-point race here. With Miratashi going to be given a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And let's go to some battles at the back too, because there's also some fun stuff happening back here. For all you wondering. As Klepa, sorry, P13 right now. Goiko, P14 behind. Melko in P15, albeit most of the stuff at the back has ended. And now it's back to Alfie Ofri Jones versus Peak Racing. These two giving a fight for first. Both are on, I think, the same strategy, all things considered. Yeah, almost everybody is on the mediums. We do have a couple on the softs, and in fact, Meiji Sad definitely pitted for the mediums just now, and Spifas is also gone on to softs just a few laps ago, so that's actually really interesting. I wonder what the decision behind that is. Regardless, I'm actually interested in that. That has got me interested, definitely, and I definitely wonder how that's going to work out for them. And it's an interesting strategy, but there could be some positions up for grabs with it. Ritzy started on it, in fact, so that's even more interesting in and of itself. And now Michello on board, bringing telemetry up. What's he got to do now? He's behind the Aston Martins. He just needs to keep up with them. Now obviously on the hard tires, he's on a tire offset compared to everyone else in this top 6. So it's definitely going to play a bit of a interesting situation for him, that's for sure. So he's got a decent bit of work here to do. on the inside, though. Michello on MKKJR. He might try it on Vicwick as well. He won't, though, but he's going to get DRS, and he's got one of the Aston Martins beat, and just as I was talking about it, he doesn't. There you go. That's one of the Aston Martins done and dealt with, and now it's just another one. And this time, Vicwick, now very alerted for sure, and definitely knows what's going on now, and this is definitely not the situation he wanted to find himself in at the moment. As Alfio Jones gonna get his position stolen away. Sir Angel though. Oh no, Peak Racing! Oh, he's gone to the pits. Never mind. Never mind. I'm on about nothing. Don't listen to me. But anyways, Alfio Jones now taking the lead. Peak Racing is gonna be one of the first ones to pit. So he's playing the interesting one. He's gonna be a bit of a guinea pig now for the strategy because he's gonna have to go 20 laps on those hard tires. As PFAS is retired from the session, something has happened to the Red Bull. And Ritzy out too! That's 2 cars out. And retired from this Grand Prix. So into the pits goes Alfio Jones. Michello now into the lead, running the hard tire strategy. So he's playing the interesting one. And the question is, will it work out for him? And Tio now on the back of that too. MKKJR too. Although those guys are also on medium, so I think they're also just trying to offset themselves from their teammates. Excuse me. As Peak Racing back up into 5th now, as most of the pits have been done already for a lot of the drivers. And now into lap 19, Michello still leading this Grand Prix, but of course he's got some work to do too, being on the hard tires. So he's definitely offset himself from the rest. So, MKKJR, Peak Racing, Alfio Jones. We got a bit of side-by-side action between Sir Angel and RRC there. Sir Angel holding him off, though. So, MKKJR actually is on hard tires, never mind, so he's not offsetting. He has decided to start on hard, so he's got his own strategy decisions to make. So that's definitely its own little batch of fun there. MKKJR actually doing a good job of keeping up with Michello and keeping him company. Now, for Peak Racing, this is exactly what he wants. He wants MKKJR to keep Michello company. He wants MKKJR to start getting in Michello's face, start making moves, and start trying to get Michello into a position he wouldn't want to be. So for MKKJR, his goal is to literally make Michello's race as hard as possible and take a lead as he goes down the inside. Ow, a little bit of contact. Rear wheel to the front wing there. But what I was going to say is, for Peak Racing, this is perfect. He wants them to battle. He wants a little mess to come out of this, because that will allow him to keep pulling in. And as you can see, it's already working as he's down to 9.7 seconds. And for MKKJR, this is perfect too, because he's on the same tire strategy as Michello. It's just a question of who's going to be willing to pit first. And they're both going to go in. They're both going in right away. Wow. And now, so they're going to both be coming out on the mediums. They have 17 laps to do on those. Sorry, 16 laps to do on those. Will that work out for the both of them? Or will that also ruin their strategy? Question is their battling also going to ruin them a little bit? It does seem like it might, but of course some drivers are way out of line in this pit order, because of course some have gone in for softs or have changed because of repairs. So that's another thing to consider too. So the position they're in right now may not reflect the final position they'll finish in, just due to some of the stuff going on. As by the way, in IRL IMSA, BMW has just crashed. But anywho, Peak Racing now up in P1. It's Alfa Romeo 1-2. Vickwick though still on the back of this, and Vickwick fighting for third now. So I think he set himself up in a really good spot here in this pit rotation. And I think it's worked out for Vickwick for sure, as he's got a nice big advantage off of that pit. So now, it's up to who's willing to make that move soon. And now we got Vickwick right on the back of Sir Angel, and might be looking for a chance. This is more points, as Vickwick plays, I think, almost a picture-perfect pit strategy again. Now the question is whether or not it will work out for him in the end. That is something that needs to be considered, of course, because it might not work out right now, especially when we see how everything goes. So Peak Racing still leading this Grand Prix, but now we've got a few drivers behind. Alfio Free Jones in P4, RRC P5. He's also a guy who I think benefited off of the pit strategy, but of course that's another thing to consider. And we also look at the tires strategy. Some drivers have gone in, but for the most part no one's on tires older than 7 laps, as one of the earliest that have come in and tried to finish off the strategy was RRC. But of course now other drivers, some are on 2, some on 4, some on 5, but most of them are on around 5 to 6 laps on those tires, especially the leaders, considering when they pitted in. So for the chance of offsets, it's going to be unlikely, unless of course we have a safety car, which could change things a good bit. Now for Peak Racing, that's the last thing he would want. And as for a battle for 5th, we have RRC versus Tio. Tio looking now. Might be looking to pass RRC real soon. MKKJR going to set the fastest lap, a 1:05.607. And Tio takes a look to the left. Sorry, takes a look to the right, takes a look to the left. Might be trying to get that McLaren to react. Down the inside. Is he going to be able to push it on the brakes late enough? He might go into the back of his teammate. Wow, that was close. Fractionally close from hitting his teammate in the back there. And that could have been real bad. So Jay Palmer up in the 1:05.211. But now Vickwick in a good spot right now. He's in P3. He's got a decent spot. But the thing is, he does have 2 Ferraris behind him who could at any point be working together to try and pass him. And then you also have to worry about, of course, the possibility of the 2. There's also 2 Alfa Romeos in front of him. Of course, Sir Angel way farther behind his teammate, but could be trying to defend Peak Racing from getting hit, so, or being taken out of the lead. So Sir Angel's best job is probably going to be slowing the guys behind up. But now Vickwick up into second there. Tom99 going to retire from the session as he's been taken out. Is that going to be worthy of a safety car? No, it won't. The race will continue. And Peak Racing still continuing this. Little batch dominance right now, with Tio now on the back end of his Ferrari teammate. And then everything to watch too, MKKJR, a little bit of gravel though, and some grass. But he's around the back end of that McLaren. We're going to go on board, telemetry up. He's passing that McLaren right now. We're going to go on side cam. There you go, flat past the McLaren goes MKKJR, up into P7 now. And the Aston Martin driver trying to get up and catch up to his teammate a little bit, because that will of course help Aston Martin in the constructors standings. But he's really trying to do his work right now. He's got Marino in front of him, the Williams driver. And as we're now about to close into the final quarter of this Grand Prix, as for Michello, I don't think the tire strategy worked. I really don't think the offset worked for him. I think the idea was good, but I really don't think in execution it was as good as it could have been, as he finds himself kind of stuck in 10th right now. Now, is there a possibility he can get back up the field here? Yes, because maybe the hard tires will start to wear out, but the 4-lap difference I don't really think is going to be are going to make an insane difference. I really don't think it will. And I think for Michello, that is just heartbreaking, I feel. For someone who looked so promising and looked like he had such a big chance in this race, for it to all kind of come crumbling apart right now. As he's also struggling to kind of keep up with the 9 right now. I really don't think the hard tires were the strat, and I think the drivers who started on that might be feeling that. As Jay Palmer out of the Grand Prix now. That's another one gone in the water. Albeit he just retires in the pit lane and decides that the race was just not going his way. Marino looking to the inside on that Ferrari in front though of Tio. And who knows what he's looking for. But side by side, MKKJR going to pass Marino now. Up into P6 goes MKKJR. Alfio Free Jones right now. P5. And Vickwick P3 right now. 4 tenths behind the Alpha of Sir Angel. He's been trying to get onto the Alfa Romeo for a while, but it's just not, the opportunity has just not been opening for him. And when it has, he just cannot seem to stick that front end there, that front nose. And it's just creating quite a difficult situation for him overall through this one. And MKKJR, though, was looking on the back end of Alfie there. He's got past Marino, and now he's looking for another position up into P5. Can he do it? He's trying his absolute hardest to really move up the field there. We got Michello now. Michello on the back of Denine. Michello going to go for the overtake around the outside now. And maybe, just maybe, can he make it work? Yes, he does. Maybe finally those mediums, albeit might be coming alive now. The hard's starting to wear off a little bit, but the mediums will also be starting to wear off too. But the mediums, I think, will have a bit more pace than the hards here. But it's going to be Denine looking down the inside for an overtake there, side by side still. And Denine's going to get that position back. Or is he side by side? Michello looking down the inside. Michello trying to get it down the inside now. They're still side by side. Denine, though, going to hold a little more speed, but he's also being pushed to the outside. He's got to watch the gravel. Denine going to have the inside. They're still side by side. Who's going to take ninth? They're still side by side. Michello going to have to back out, though. Denine going to be a little bit faster. Denine going to be able to maintain his position for another day. But wow, that was close. Or not, because he's got a 3-second time penalty now. So Michello can benefit off of that. And Michello trying again down the inside, but decides to back off behind. He doesn't really have to worry too much about that because he knows Denine has a penalty now. And that's going to play to his advantage. As Vickwick, though, gets the move done on Sir Angel. And now he's up in the P2. And he's now got some clean air if he can hold off Sir Angel to try and chase down Peak Racing. But Sir Angel, of course, going to want to get into this battle. 1, to help his teammate out. But 2, to just make life a little bit easier. And also 3, to get some extra points, especially after that Silverstone issue. As Peak Racing has practically disappeared now from the sights of everyone. Two-Bit retires. He's had enough of this race. And now Vickwick might have just was almost about to get done by Sir Angel there. But Sir Angel thinks better of that and decides not to do something too aggressive that could jeopardize both races. It's one thing when you know an incident could jeopardize another driver's race. It's another thing when you know an incident could jeopardize your race. So you really have to think about that. As Peak Racing starts up lap 34. 3 laps left here this Grand Prix. And boys, have gone by quick. I'll tell you right now, that is Austria in its finest. When you have a lot of action, this race goes by quick, and you don't even realize it. And now it's Sir Angel, still sitting in P3 right now. Does he try and get that move done? As outfield free Jones very close to his teammate, by the way. A little bit of smoke there. We got a couple cars going over the grass. Get some free lawn mowing here in Austria. Lawn mowing lessons with MKKJR. Might have to order those. Doing a good job of maintaining that grass, I'll tell you that. And now, lap 35 started. Sir Angel on the back end of Vickwick. Still, he just can't get past now. And so Vickwick doing exactly what Sir Angel did to him and making it very difficult for Sir Angel to get by. But fortunately, all this has been perfect because this led to exactly what Peak Racing wanted. He's got himself almost a 4-second gap, and he's almost ready to come home as he's finishing off this penultimate lap to come home and bring home the win here in Austria. Now, I know I said starting in pole doesn't matter, but for Peak Racing it clearly did, as he is getting ready to finish off this lap and come home a winner here in Austria. For Peak Racing, he had a big advantage anyways. He was already looking at 2/10 faster than anyone else, and I feel like maybe one of the few people that would have challenged him truly on pace would have been Michello. But Michello, of course, has been stuck in this battle with the 9 for 9th. And the tire strategy, unfortunately, just did not go the way it would have. And even though Michello's on the mediums and D9's on the hards, I don't really think I don't really think the hards are wearing down that much that the mediums are getting that big of an advantage. And I really think it just did not go Michello's way. But Michello going to go for the overtake, though. Will he go for P9? He does go for P9. So Michello might bring home an extra point here, though, in this one, which wouldn't be half bad, all things considered. And now to Peak Racing, as he comes across the final 2 lines. He's played the strategy perfectly. He's played the race perfectly. Did a perfect undercut on nobody. I thought it was going to go a little bit of ride, but it works perfectly as Peak Racing wins the Austrian Grand Prix, as everyone else fielding in behind him. And that's just a sign of how close that race is, because all those top 8 all finished super close to that. And now Michello, the 9 out. Now Goiko, Muratashi, they're coming through, those two. There they go. Trying to get out of the way of the crashed McLaren there. A few more drivers through, and there you go. That is your Grand Prix here. And it's going to go to Peak Racing, who's played the strategy perfectly. Michello, unfortunately, while getting driver of the day in the game, is unfortunately not going to be able to reap those rewards, as he only finishes P9. Not able to really get an advantage where he would have wanted to, and was not able to get the pace up as much as he would have wanted to. So for Michello, it's an unfortunate end. But I gotta say, he tried. And when you're starting from 20th, you have to be willing to take those risks. It may not work out, but I really don't think there was much he could have done differently. I feel like even if he did the same strategy, it might have still ended badly, because he was getting into a battle with the guy in front anyways. And so, I don't know. But for Peak Racing, this is a dream day right now. Basically, first to first, he almost could have Grand Slammed it, but of course was not able to build up the gap to go for a Grand Slam. But a good race nonetheless. 25 solid points, 40 minutes of race time. No safety cars too, shockingly. And so it's Peak Racing who wins the Grand Prix. Sir Angel, P2, Vickwick, P3, TO P4, Alfie P5, Marino P6, MKK P7, RRC P8, Michello P9, D9 10th. Those making up all the points. Those not making up the points. Klepa, Goiko, Miritachi, Meiji Sad, Melko. And those not finishing is 2-Bit, J Palmer Tom, BRL Ritzy, and Spiffas. I'm your host, Biggie Smoke. That was a good race overall for HRL. And I'll see you guys probably tomorrow, because I don't know if I'll be doing EGPC today. But we will see. Bye for now. Hope you enjoyed the race. HRL signing out.